speaking to the SABC News. Steenhuisen says the security cluster were found wanting in fulfilling the mandate given to them. He says he is ready to serve in Ramaphosa's cabinet should the president reshuffle and consider him as a minister.
Look, it's the president's prerogative about who he chooses and who he does not choose. I think he's been badly let down by his security cluster. I don't think that he had all the information that he required at his fingertips to be able to make some of those decisions. I don't think he was properly appraised about what was happening on the ground. So I think that there's some room for movement in the security cluster. And I definitely think that it's time that he pulls the guillotine down now on Minister Mkhize. We're in the midst of a health pandemic. We've got an acting health minister. I think that there's parts of the SIU report are starting to leak out every single day. And I think that's damaging for the president because he's sitting on that report. And I don't think it takes more than 2 weeks to go through a SIU report that seems to have made, to my readings of the tribunal, that are very damning findings against the minister. Why is there this vacillation? The country needs a full-time health minister. We've got a health minister who's been on special leave. And I don't think it's serving the president or the country well. So it's not for me to say who he must choose for his cabinet, but I think that those are some areas where he's going to have to look very, very carefully at bringing in some capacity because he's being let down in that regard. And I've said very, very often that we want to be part of the solution in South Africa and that we're the president's partners in the rational centre around fixing South Africa. I think that there's many instances where we agree with what the president's trying to do, the fact that he's being held back by people in his own party, but we'd have to look at what the terms are of that. If it meant that we would have to give up independence, etc., we would have to examine that. But my party and I stand very, very ready to get our hands dirty and to offer our expertise and experience in helping to rebuild South Africa. We're in a really bad space at the moment. We've got a hydra of crises, of financial, health, economic, social crises, and I think it's time for the country to come together to find solutions for these things, which makes me very cross that Parliament is closed still and hasn't been recalled. This is a time when the best heads in South Africa should be around the table, not in the sand, and I think that we should be discussing these things.
Now, in the meantime, Steenhuisen wants a high-level meeting to discuss events leading up to the looting and unrest in KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. He's written to President Cyril Ramaphosa to request a meeting that would include the president, opposition leaders, State Security Minister Ayanda Dlodlo and Police Minister Bheki Cele.
We've got conflicting reports between the State Security Minister Ayanda Dlodlo and the Police Minister Bheki Cele about who knew what, when they knew it, and what they did or didn't do about it. And I think it's only correct that the opposition, as leaders of parties in the country and who have a role to play in settling down some of the churn and unrest, are brought up to speed with exactly where the problem arose, how we ended up in that situation, and settle once and for all whether it was the security services in terms of the intelligence operations, or whether it was the operationalization of the SAPS, where the problems lay and allowed the looting to continue for a few days unchecked.